marketers. Deborah Eckerling here.
And I'm Keith Smith, and we host the MPN Meta Marketing Show, which is not just another marketing podcast, but the marketing podcast about all the other marketing podcasts.
Podcasts are booming, right? We love them, and people actually listen. They don't scroll, they don't swipe, well, except maybe during the ad breaks.
But here's the secret. With the Marketing Podcast Network, your ads don't make people hit skip. We put your brand on shows that people actually want to hear.
That's right. We match your message with podcasts that make marketing nerds like us perk up and take notes, or at least nod knowingly, pretending they understand.
And don't worry, because we'll deliver your ad naturally. People might even think that we love your brand personally, which of course we totally do, unless it's a veggie smoothie, then maybe not.
If you want your brand heard without making listeners roll their eyes,
head to marketingpodcasts.net and catch marketing fans at work, rest and play. Seriously, your audience is already listening. Make sure they hear your brand and not our awkward jokes.
Join the conversation, because good ads shouldn't just be tolerated, they should be enjoyed.
Yes!
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
Coming up on this episode of the Entrepreneurial You.
Growth is where you get so much business that you're actually going, I don't know if I could take another client. And then scaling is putting the systems and people in place to be able to support the growth that you're doing. One of the best things that I like to advise my clients and creates monetary value for the company is to document what you do consistently.
Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? It is time for another episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter. And it's where you turn your business expertise into real world results. And we have an amazing guest today. She's a strategic powerhouse, the mind behind Infinite Profit and the Profit Booster Growth Agency. Her mission is to help driven business owners monetize their knowledge and maximize profit without working around the clock. Can somebody say amen to that? So whether you're a podcaster, speaker, or service-based entrepreneur, she offers the systems and support to automate, boost value, and finally make your business work for you, not the other way around. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the Entrepreneurial You podcast today my guest, Marcia Riner. Welcome, Marcia.
Heneka, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I love being a guest. I'm usually on your side of the microphone each time, right? So this is a lot of fun.
Yes. When we turn the tables, isn't it? All right. So to let our audience know, our topic today is Profit on Autopilot, transforming expertise into scalable revenue. Now, entrepreneurs wear 100, 1,000 hats, often joining in admin while profits suffer. The real reason why we got into business in the first place, right? So we're going to hear Marcia flip the script, showing that the key to scalable, sustainable revenue lies in streamlined systems and leveraged expertise, not more hustle. And my guest before this one last week, she spoke of the same, not the hustle thing. Now today we're breaking down how smart consulting, practical automation, and the right strategy can turn your podcast, your personal brand, or service business into a true profit engine. Welcome again, Marcia. Here's my icebreaker question for you.
Yeah.
You help entrepreneurs reclaim both time and money. What's the most surprising light bulb moment you've seen a client have when they realize profit doesn't have to equal more work? Please, I can't wait to hear that one.
Great question. The funny thing, I think we get into bad habits, right? Somewhere along the line, someone said, you have to work harder. You have to chase more. You have to make that one more call. You have to put that one more thing out, right? And we stress ourselves out, especially us ladies, right? Because we're trying to, keep up with the guys and manage the household sometimes and manage our life sometimes and manage our business a lot of times. And it becomes this crazy thing where we just naturally put this garbage on our own back that we have to carry up the hill. So I think some of the realities that my clients have felt when that light bulb goes on and they realize, I don't have to do that? What? You mean it can be easier? And then they just like, and then they move into it and everything starts to fall into place and they start to enjoy their company again rather than feeling the stress of like they're sitting across the table from their family going, oh, I didn't get that report out, or oh, I need to do this for a client, and you don't need that. And I think that's the big aha that they get, is when they realize that, first of all, I am a tremendous AI geek right now. And so AI can really smooth out and make our lives easier with systems and automations and, even to the point of ideation. It just makes things so much easier now. So I think that's the blessing that I've been seeing.
Yeah. So let's start there. You mean you don't really have to work hard? You mean you don't really have to do all of that? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think it's working smarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even to the point of choosing the clients or customers that you want to work with, right? Because we've all had that customer that drives us harder or makes us do things, 3 or 4 times, or just is not a happy customer. So we are in a position where we can choose our customers, we can choose the offers we make, we can choose the pricing that we sell our offer for. And I think that's where I think working smarter comes in. And again, using AI can help you do that as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get into it. What are some of the biggest profit leaks or missed opportunities that you find with most growth-focused entrepreneurs? What are we missing?
Well, some of the things, I am not an accountant or CPA. I came out of the financial services space, so I really know how to dig in the numbers and read financial statements and things like that. So where I think a lot of the profit leaks come from is being unaware. They're driving with those blinders on and they're just going and going and going, and they forget to kind of go back to the foundations and look at their expenses, right? This is a tremendous opportunity for leaks. And I always like to ask this very basic question of every expense that comes out of my company. And if I can answer at least two out of these, then I'm going to keep it. If I can't, then I'm going to kick it to the curb, maybe just for a little while or permanently. Does it create a client? Does it keep a client? Does it increase the long-term lifetime value of the client? If it doesn't, it's probably not a beneficial business expense for you, and you might want to park it for a little while, because our accountants tell us, oh, run everything through the company for tax deductions. Okay, there's a benefit to that, but it also affects the profitability of the company. If you're running all your expenses through and still taking a regular income, which you should, if you're doing that, then you're kind of double paying yourself, right? And it affects the profitability. And in the long term, when you go to sell your company, businesses look at that and go, well, you're making more, but you're not making as much. And actually, there's things that could be fixed. So I encourage people to go back and look at their cost of goods sold, right? What does it cost me to make my widget or deliver my service? Look at your operating expenses. These are the expenses that occur whether you sell one widget or no widgets or 100 widgets. And then look at your pricing strategy. If you have a solid pricing strategy that makes sense for your customer and also makes sense for you, then these three combined make a triple effect that can really boost your profitability.
You talk about, or earlier in the introduction, I spoke of infinite profit, and we hear of, these programs from time to time. So how does infinite profit differ from, say, typical consulting or coaching programs?
Sure. Thank you for that. Infinite Profit is a growth agency. So we're looking at ideas and ways to improve the growth, to improve the revenue, and to make sure that your company is in a position that you can exit sometime in the future. Could be 5 years, could be 20 years, but sometime in the future, you're able to keep the legacy of your company going and recoup some of that investment you have. So the differentiator between normal consultants and normal coaches is a consultant is going to give you an idea and let you run with it. A coach is going to go, did you do it? How can you do it? Right. And my company blends that along with the action part of it. So a lot of times my customers have had, we've sat down and created a plan. We've had some really great ideas, and then they do nothing with it. So, again, back to what you had said, Heneka, that, they're wearing 100 different hats and trying to do all these things. A lot of times they need somebody to do it, help them do it. And so my firm created an agency side of that to actually help in the execution. So I'm a trifecta that I can not only come up with the ideas and poke them when they're not doing it, but I can actually take some of that off of their plate and help them get to the goal that they're trying to achieve.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so now I am going to go into your profit booster. If you could explain to us today, and many of us are podcasters, myself, of course, that's why we're here. And even those listening, they have their own podcasts. Can you explain how the Profit Booster Monetization Hub will, let's say, turn a podcast episode into a lead generating, revenue building asset?
Oh, I love this. This has been my favorite thing this year. So I started this at the beginning of the year. My podcast has gone in January. It'll be 7 years, 330 episodes. And I found a process that I just started sharing with my guests and with some of my friends that are also podcasters. And one of the things that I realized that my guests were doing is they just came on, they looked perfect on camera, they said all the great things, and then crickets. Nothing happened with
Been
them.
Been there.
Right? And so I felt, and I realized, and I was doing it myself, but my guests and friends weren't, is there's a whole system after the podcast airs to market it. And if you do it correctly and you have all the systems and automations, it doesn't add the weight to your shoulders, but you could have 6 months or more worth of really juicy content that you can continue to share and market and put your message out there. And so it's not just the one and done of the video or audio that you record, but it's the repurposing of the content and using it and putting it into a system so that your audience and the new audience that you just found has an opportunity to really fall in love with you and come closer to you, because we know nobody's going to throw a credit card at you the first time they talk or hear your voice, right? So it's that nurturing sequence that you can do over time that gets them to step closer and hear you again, and maybe hear your next podcast and hear an idea that sparks something that brings them into closer opportunities for them to do business with you eventually. So I think it's that post-podcasting system that I've created that really monetizes the podcast.
All right, but we just want to hear that. We want to hear how, because I'm sure they're
How?
listening like, how? Yes, you tell
Right.
us that we can do that, but tell us the how.
Sure, sure. I love getting into the nitty gritty. Okay. So the first thing I think is really important is how to take that content and really turn it into juicy things. The favorites right now are short clips, right? Under a minute that has that soundbite, right? That is really truly what they wanted to hear out of it. And then turning it into an automated email system, into posting that goes out on your platforms and the other platforms that have it. Video, right? We all know video is so popular right now, but then remember, I'm an AI geek. You can create video avatars and take that same concept that you were talking about and put it into the AI videos that are fun to watch now. So yeah, there's at least a dozen or more different ways that you can pull all that together.
So thanks for sharing that, Marcia. So what advice do you give to business owners looking to scale or even prepare for the exit without burning out? That's the operative part there, without burning out, right?
Well, back to my first answer of you don't have to do more, right? It's being smart in your business, right? I think that helps in the burnout phase. I think really, if you imagine growth, right? I like to visualize it as a Christmas tree. So you grow up and then you scale out. So growth is where you get so much business that you're actually going, I don't know if I could take another client. And then scaling is putting the systems and people in place to be able to support the growth that you're doing. So there's little phases of that Christmas tree that keep coming out. And I think when you do scaling and growth in that manner, where you grow first, you get to a really important stress point, and then you look at the systems and people you have to support that, then you're not trying to carry it all on the back of your own, and you're not stressing about it. And you can start to, again, have those dinners with your family without worrying about work.
Dinners with your family without worrying about work. Don't we want? I want that.
When was the last time, Heneka, when was the last time you had dinner with your family that you weren't thinking about something at work, right?
Can't recall.
Right?
I can't recall. That's not good. That's not good at all. You know, it's funny. It was Sunday gone. We had a movie night at church, right? And it was intermission, and I'm sitting because we have a kind of an upstairs thing, at church where I was watching the movie from. I was out there, like kind of like on the balcony alone, and one of my sisters at church, she was like, she saw me on my phone and she was like, Heneka, no working, pause, take a break. I'm like, how do you know that I'm working?
There's little puffs of smoke coming out of your ears, right? Because your brain is working and working. That's the blessing and the curse of today's entrepreneur. And then being a woman, we stack even more on ourselves. And I think that's what leads to that burnout. So if I flip that back to your friend can see it on your face, right? And your partner across the table is seeing it on your face. You're looking at your phone, you're thinking you're not engaging in conversation, which ruins the quality of life for us. And so I think that's where we look at those systems, right? Do I have all those repeatable processes done automatically? Do I have them documented so I can, maybe if I can't do them automatically, can I hire somebody to do them for me that doesn't cost a lot or doesn't require the level of education and skill set that I have, right? Because when you're the business owner, you should really only be doing the things that only you can do.
Yeah.
Rather than all that other stuff that we do because I can just do it faster, or it's just me, those quadruple hats that we're wearing at times. It's just thinking that process through of what can I take off of my plate so I can focus on the things that only I can do, which in many of our instances in the smaller space is revenue generating activities. And if we can focus on the revenue generating activities and farm off the tactical stuff like accounting or maybe marketing or maybe delivery of the product or building the product or whatever product services, crisscrosses a lot, but still thinking about what you can get off of your table and off of your plate. One of my mentors told me, she said, what was it? And I know I'm butchering this, but it was like, we no longer have a plate as an entrepreneur. We have a buffet, right? We have a buffet that we've got to do. So if we think about, oh, we're going to the buffet line, are we going to load our plate up because we want to get the most bang for our buck? Or are we going to eat what only we want to eat, right? Let's go to the dessert line.
Yeah.
Right? And thinking about it like that, it's really important for us as entrepreneurs and CEOs to really lean into that space of doing what only we can do.
Yeah.
And farm the rest off.
Perfect. Let's go into our community connection segment. And then when we come back, Marcia, I want to hear how can thought leaders and these service providers start leveraging automation, even if they feel like they're not really tech, they're not techy, they feel tech challenged, right? We're going to talk about that, but let's do the community connection. And this is one of my favorite times because it's where I get to air what it is that you are sharing, what you're feeling, and how you're connecting with us. So I am really grateful that you always take the time to share, right? You share your story, share your lessons, the feedback, whether it's about the conversations we're having on the Entrepreneurial You or within other elements of the community that I'm building here. So a couple weeks ago, as you've been hearing the last few episodes, that we hosted a graduation for the women that I'd mentor in the Grace to Grow Mentorship and Training Program. And we did that in Leadercast, and we gave Leadercast as a gift to these women, and they were so super grateful. Now we have some testimonials, and I share this from Avoy Morgan. And Avoy says, this is my testimony for Grace to Grow. I'm grateful to have joined a wonderful program. Though I missed a few sessions, I got the opportunity to meet persons who actually volunteered their time and made the efforts to give me and the other participants a chance to take a new approach on how we conduct ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally and financially. This program has definitely highlighted the steps I need to take to be more productive in my everyday life, and I am grateful. Glory to God and thank you, says Avoy Morgan. Thank you, Avoy, for sharing this feedback with us. And if you want to learn more about the work that we do at Grace to Grow, I encourage you to go to gracetogrowglobal.com. All right,
Let me say, that was beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Marcia.
When I believe that energy given creates energy coming back. And when your participants and your mentors are giving to the people that are learning and trying to come up, you as a mentor, you get that back like tenfold. But to help somebody that is starting their journey or moving through their journey, you become the light for them. And I think that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you too. Yes, I 100% believe that, that we're meant to be light in this world. Amidst the darkness that there is, there's just so much light, and we're meant to be part of that. So I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to do it.
I love it.
Yes. All right. So as I alluded to earlier, Marcia, this is my pretty much my penultimate question to you. Like, how can thought leaders and service providers start to leverage automation? We talk about this a lot. And even if they feel like they're not tech giants, they're not techy at all, they're tech challenged. How can they do that?
So tech is really not that hard if you're not afraid of it. So Let me just put that little preface out there. There are so many opportunities for us to use technology, even as it's so much drop and drag these days that you don't have to know coding. You don't have to know all these crazy things. They make it so easy for us that you can almost verbally ask a question and get a result. So one of the challenges I know a lot of us have is trying to take what is up here and put it onto paper or some sort of SOP, as we call them, standard operating procedures. And when you're building a company out, that is gold. When you do something consistently, whether it's marketing or client delivery of your product or service, or maybe it's even an accounting process, or it's a creative process, or it's a client management process, we all do them, but we do them from up here. And one of the best things that I like to advise my clients and creates monetary value for the company is to document what you do consistently and regularly. And there is some tech out there that makes it super easy these days to be able to do it. There is some software, and one of them, and I get no benefit from it whatsoever, but like Scribe. Scribe will take your process that you're already doing on the computer and document it step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. And the benefit of this is that you can now hand this off to somebody. You can improve it. You can change it, and you can take it off of your plate and make it somebody else's duty, right? Which frees up your time. And I think that when you have those kind of ways that you can, reduce the stress and make your business more smooth or more consistent, if you imagine every time you went to a restaurant, and we'll use a famous one, McDonald's, right? The burger tastes the same every time. The fries taste the same every time because they have a system and process that they follow through. You cook it at this temperature, you cook it for this long, it's stacked like this, it looks like that, it tastes like that. And we can do that with our service, with the way we treat our customers, and I think that's the piece that automation comes in. And I know automation gets kind of scary and, freaked out and techy at times, but it doesn't have to be. And the more you can automate your company to run without you, the better off you'll be. And if your team knows exactly what they're supposed to do because it's a standard procedure, and you say, do this while I go on vacation for a week, what? You can actually put your phone and computer down, and they know what to do in every situation so that they're not calling you, you're not worrying, you're able to relax and take the benefit of being the business owner that you desired when you started your company, right? I don't know that many of us said that we're going to work 80 hours a week and stress over it and make less than minimum wage. And, I think we dreamed about having more freedom and more time and more money, and to be able to make an impact on our community and the places that we serve. Well, you can't do that if it's all up here.
Absolutely not. You can't do it if it's all in the head and not written, right? Write the vision and make it plain. All right, at this point, I'm going to ask you, Marcia, to share your final thoughts. A couple of things. I want to hear your final thoughts to us on this conversation, and then share your contact information with us. How might our peak performance community get in touch with you? And also, you did mention before we came on through, documented that a business growth map is what you share with the community. So please go ahead and share all of that. It's a mouthful.
It is. Well, as you can tell, I have no problem talking, right?
Right. I like it.
I love it. Thanks, Heneka. I appreciate this.
Sure.
So final things that I think to draw or wrap a bow around our conversation of how do you increase more profitability in your business without being stressed. I think it's looking at, what are you doing, right? I mean, there's been kind of a theme around this and saying, what are you doing? What do you need to do? What can you farm off and that kind of stuff? I think in today's environment, AI is very, very helpful in making your job easier. It's not meant to take other people's jobs away. It's meant to improve and enhance what they're doing. And we as humans still need to put our fingerprint and viewpoint on everything that AI produces for us. But I think it can make our job and life easier. So either we can, in my case, produce more instead of cutting back, right? But produce more, simplify the processes that we're doing, look for those financial gaps. You can throw your budget into AI and say, what can I get rid of? What is important? What is not important? And I think that that's really what we want to do, is take that time, whether it's once a month or once a week, and look over our business and say, what can I do better, faster, stronger, cheaper, and improve my business? And you'll make the company better today, financially, operational, engaging more with your customers. And then later on, you'll make it more attractive to future buyers when you decide to step down.
Absolutely. How might our community get in touch with you, Marcia?
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. So my company is Infinite Profit Consulting. You can find that on the URL. Very easy to find. There's lots of information. And like you, I'm a giver, so I'm always sharing ideas on social media. But we talked about a growth map, and I think this is it's kind of like an audit, and it's a new model for me right now. But I'm thinking what you can get from it is you can get a couple of really smart growth ideas that you can implement right now. And you can look at what it's going to do over, say, the next 90 days. How do you implement that and get it going quickly in your business so you can start to see the action? If you remember, I'm all about the strategy tactics, but I'm also more importantly about taking that action in there. So you can get that. It's very easy to do. If you go to my branded site, which is profitbooster.biz, and there's a growth map on there you can get. And there's also lots of information.
Yes.
One more place you can always find me is my podcast, Profit with a Plan. It comes out every Tuesday. And I'm always talking about great ideas there as well. And my guest stars too.
Yes. Profit with a plan. I like it. All right. Thank you, Marcia. I'll come right back and close. But for now, let's head right over into the trending now. And here's what's trending now. So, in the world of business growth, according to a 2025 industry survey, 65% of small businesses with automated lead follow-up and systemized workflows saw revenue jump by 30% or more last year. Meanwhile, platforms focused on podcast/content monetization are surging, with hosts leveraging each episode to drive 2 to 3 times more qualified leads compared to basic marketing tactics. Profit doesn't have to be a grind. It just needs the right blueprint. And that's what's trending now.
I love it. It said it right on there. It's perfect and 100% true. So really good
Awesome.
information.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you so much, Marcia Riner. You have given us a roadmap to higher profits with lower stress. And so I invite the community, if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start building scalable, smart revenue, please connect with Marcia, and she has given us the options. I mean, she's on LinkedIn, Marcia Riner, and she's on Facebook. Of course, her website, infiniteprofitconsulting.com. And if you want that business growth map, or other resources, please go to profitbooster.biz. That's BIZ. If this episode sparked an aha moment for you, please, if you haven't already, subscribe and leave a review. Share this episode with a business owner who's ready to work smarter, not harder. Remember, your expertise is an asset. Now's the time to make it pay. Please affirm with me. I turn my expertise into profit with smart systems and sustainable strategies that work for me. A very special thanks to our sponsors, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and of course, Heneka Watkis-Porter.com. Walk good.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.